Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about Mary Pender Greene's concept, creating your virtual personal board of directors. I'm welcoming and I'm so appreciative of you taking the time. Jonathan McLean, licensed clinical social worker, Vice President of Residential and Youth Justice Services at SCO and Family Services. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to talk with you.
Okay, terrific.
About Mary.
Yes. All right, terrific. So, Jonathan, the first question that I have for you today is, what was the process like for you to form a virtual personal board of directors?
So that's a great question. I think it was ostensibly an organic process. I think there were times that I was doing it and I didn't even realize I was doing it. So I think the elements of it was there, even in my relationship with Mary, but her conceptualization of it, if you will, helped me understand what I was doing and what I needed to continue to do. And I based it off my relationship with her as one of the mentors, her and the person who introduced me to her. They were key mentors for me in my early professional career.
Terrific, terrific. Did anything surprise you about your virtual personal board of directors?
Yeah, I think, Mary gave me a piece of advice that I'd heard as sort of like a golden thread with many of the people that I have on my board, is that you don't make executive decisions without consulting with your team. And I cannot tell you how helpful that has been. Even when I think I've had a clear sense of a decision, like I don't make any decisions without consulting key members on my virtual board of directors. But I can't tell you how critical it is, because even when I thought, and this is just something that's also happened as recently as about a month or two ago, when I needed to make a professional decision, I can't tell you how clear I thought I was until I had the conversation with key members of my board of directors. And I made a decision based on that conversation and the feedback I got that was ultimately the right decision. And I said to myself, had I not consulted with my people, key people, I would not have made the best decision for myself. So critical, unequivocally critical.
Absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful, Jonathan. And how has it impacted your career, having a virtual personal board of directors?
I'm going to say it's been the key. I've said this to you before. There are no secret sauces to anything that I've accomplished in my career. Obviously, I've worked hard. Obviously, I've had to do the work. But without that support, without people helping to guide me through processes and things that I have not been familiar with or I wasn't familiar with, without people to help me make the decisions or provide me with the information to make the best decisions, there's no way I could have navigated things, and there's no way I could have positioned myself to be where I am. So, not even making just decisions, but also, just concrete support. So it's a combination of both things when you have a virtual board of directors and people that are providing you with that mentorship, that support, and that guidance. And sometimes the support manifests itself in concrete sort of help that extends beyond just mentorship and coaching.
Terrific, terrific. So, Jonathan, how would you say, how would you say that having a virtual personal board of directors has impacted your professional decision-making process?
I do not make any professional decisions of any consequence without consulting key members of my board.
Terrific.
And that board, depending on the decision, so there's some constants, right? Mary's usually one of the constants, but depending on what the decision has to do with, there may be some other people that I bring in from other areas of the board who have different expertise that can support that decision-making process.
Terrific, terrific. So, and this is almost my last question, Jonathan. So what is the single most noted or noteworthy for you educational piece of learning that's impacted you the most regarding Mary's book, Creative Mentorship and Career Building Strategies, How to Build Your Virtual Personal Board of Directors?
I think the single most salient piece of learning that I've gotten from the book and just, learning from Mary is that this is your board. You create it. You are the chief executive officer, and you use it in a way that absolutely unequivocally supports you and your process. So it doesn't require you to go out and solicit members and to let members know that they're part of your board of directors. You have great flexibility with it because people will be on your board that may start out in different roles. I've had people who started out, as, coaches. Like I've had a coach that I paid who is now a key board member who, just is there for me. And they don't necessarily have to know it. So it is the relationship building piece of the work that is so critical. And what you invest in those relationships, that's probably the biggest sort of piece of philosophical advice I've gotten from Mary, and what I've gleaned from the book is that invest in those relationships, own your board, and make sure you engage people around the things that are critically important for you and your success, and use your board. That's the last thing that I'll say. Make sure you use your board because you have it for a reason.
Terrific. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
I think, if people haven't begun to engage in the process of conceptualizing people in their lives as members of their own personal board of directors, they're missing out on a great opportunity. I can't tell you how empowering it is to realize that you can have a cohort of people that don't necessarily need to know each other and don't even necessarily need to know that they are on your board, who are instrumental to helping you make really important decisions around your life and supporting you in your process. And that extends to your personal life and your professional life. I have board members who support me in both. So my advice would be, if you don't have one, get one. If you haven't read the book, read the book. If you're not familiar with the philosophy and the way you conceptualize a virtual board of directors, make sure you go out and find out, because it is critical. And you may even be doing some of it without even realizing you're doing it.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much, Jonathan McLean, licensed clinical social worker, Vice President of Residential and Youth Justice Services with SCO and Family Services. I really appreciate your time today.
My pleasure. And it's always a pleasure to work with and talk to you.
Terrific. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.